Hi, my name's Alex. I play rhythm guitar for the Red Seduction, and I'm going to be talking about my gear today. Alright, so gonna go over my amp first. It's a Marshall DSL 40. In terms of tone, I kind of just have it dialed in as a sort of edge of breakup because it mainly just serves as a platform for my pedals. It's 4 channels, but it always just stays on that clean channel. And this is what that sounds like. It's also kind of been sticker bombed. It's got just mainly stickers from bands around the scene. The idea behind that was just it's a fairly popular amp, so I thought if I do that, it'd be easy to tell apart if somebody else happens to have it on the show we happen to be playing at. So my amp I got a little bit before I joined the band. Actually, I think I might have bought it when they initially brought me in for a Beatles cover band. It wasn't even actually a Reds member thing yet. It was just for that. And before that, I owned a Boss Katana, which I miss dearly, but I'm not gonna get into that right now. But yeah, shortly before doing that Beatles thing, I was like, you know what, I want a tube amp. Never owned one. It's only been solid state my whole life. I wanted a tube amp. I've wanted a Marshall DSL since I was in high school. I watched a lot of gear vids back then, and it was just kind of do it all kind of amp. I have all these pedals, but there's a lot you can do with it alone. Maybe you change the speaker though, because the speaker's kind of, it sucks. Like the high end is super not pleasant to the ears. It's like my only complaint with it. I think it's a Celestion V30, but I don't know, maybe I throw a cream back in there or something else. I haven't gotten to it yet because when you have as many effects as I do, it actually kind of doesn't matter at that rate, if I'm being honest, especially with things like amp in the box style pedals that color it to a totally different light. But it's a pedal platform, does more than it needs to. All right, next is my guitar. It's a Schecter Reaper FRS. The finish is mainly what drew it to me. It reminds me of Jupiter, like the planet, which is my favorite. But beyond that, the actual specs of the guitar are what I always look for. It's 24 frets, super thin neck as well, high output pickups. The bridge is a Schecter Decimator, and the neck is a Sustainiac, and a floating trem too for dive bombs and everything in between. My pedal board, I'm mainly just gonna be going over what I use on a nightly basis. There's a lot going on, but I'm just gonna skim that out. First in the chain is my wireless unit, so line 6. Not much to say, it just helps me, it keeps the cable off me as I move around on stage. Next in the chain is the Walrus Audio Jupiter. It's a fuzz pedal and it sounds like this. So it's only really used on one song right now. I use it after the psychedelic part on the fix. Just kind of give it some bite right there at the outro of the song. Alright, so that's the Jupiter. Next is the MXR Phase 90. It's a phaser pedal. It's also used during the fix, as well as another song, Disco Baby. Well, the fix it's during the psychedelic section, and Disco Baby is during the cumbia part. This is Disco Baby. Pretty much all it is. It's just a nice little color for weird parts like that I like to throw in there. All right, next in the chain is the Empress Effects Heavy. It's a dual distortion amp in the box type pedal, or amps, I guess. So the side labeled heavier is, I believe, based on like a Soldano 100 type of amp. It's more just kind of dialed in for my own kind of taste. It's not really used at all during our music, but this is what that sounds like. The other side is just labeled heavy, and I think it's based on the JCM 800, so it's basically a Marshall into a Marshall kind of sound. I kind of just use it on our songs that are not as heavy, something like Hideaway. Alright, and then last in this part of the chain is Stone Deaf Effects Warp Drive. It's kind of hard to sum up. It can be a drive, it can be an overdrive, it can be a distortion, it can be a fuzz. Just depends how you want to dial it in. I have it dialed in for our more heavy sounding songs. So I use this on Freak Out, for instance, and here's what that goes like. The last three pedals I'll be going over are what is in my effects loop. So first in the chain is another pedal by Walrus Audio. It's the Julia. It's a chorus and tremolo in one. I only really use the chorus side. It's used sporadically, just wherever I feel like it'll sound cool. But the one song I do use it on the whole way through is Days, and this is what that sounds like. Next in the chain is the Electro Harmonics Canyon. It's a delay pedal. I use it a lot. When I first got it, I actually fixed it. It used to be Elias's. The switch broke, and well, I just replaced it, and he let me keep it. Like I said, I did use it initially before I got my next pedal, but truth be told, I'm not too big on delay. And honestly, I don't even think it gets much use anymore, but for the sake of the video, delay sound. Just that kind of slap back kind of deal. And then, so the next is the FSO2 reverb. It's more my kind of sound. I don't know, I just like reverbs more over delay. It's semantics really. Either one can kind of be interchangeable. So the reverb, it's a digital one. It's 7 reverb sounds in one. Right now I think I have it dialed in on the room type reverb. And this is a bit what it sounds like. Alright, so that's all my pedal board. The last thing I'll be going over is the Sustainiac I mentioned earlier. So it's basically just a fancy magnet. It'll sustain a note just for as long as the battery has juice in it basically, but it'll hold a note forever. So it has 3 modes. It has just the basic on mode. And then the second mode, I believe, is mixed between normal and harmonic. So it gets a little more squealy, and the last mode is just harmonic alone. I use it here and there whenever I just think it'll sound cool in a song. If I want to do a dive bomb and I don't want to have to worry about the note going out earlier than I wanted to. It's really useful there. It's really only used on the normal sustain though. I don't use the other ones too often, but as I begin to like write more songs with the band, all the Saniac, the rest of my pedals, I hopefully will incorporate all a lot more intricately, I guess. So yeah, that's all my equipment. Please stream our music, go watch our shows, and follow us on social media. Thank you.